It has been a manic Monday, just insane. We got alien visitors flying all around. We've got apparently there's a lot more Bigfoot sightings, which you know what? I'd be stoked to see a Sasquatch, man. Um, get some Harry and the Hendersons shit going down, right? But anyways, you know, dropping the suppressor stuff. So it gets fun. I enjoy this. I'm not. People are allowed to voice their opinions and debate with me if they want. I'm just gonna go over some funny statistic things here, especially when it comes to shootings and suppressors. Like how many crimes are actually ever committed with a suppressor in the United States? It's ridiculous. But suppressors in crimes. Oh. All right. Fun facts here. While silencers are not often used in crimes, they have been used in a few instances. Let's see, there's an incident in 1915, incident in 1920, incident in 2013, so that's three. Three notable shootings with suppressors that Christopher Dorner, former LAPD officer, used a gun with a suppressor and he murdered 4 people. 1920, a group of robbers used silencers to murder a jeweler on Fifth Avenue. 1915, a father in New York City used a rifle with a silencer to kill his wife and children. Wow. I mean, like, as far as that goes, I'm sure there's other incidents or whatnot, but as far as making heavy news headlines, that would be it right there. You know, as far as debunking this goes, okay, people, for some reason, they're under the impression that when you put a silencer on a gun, that gun becomes more dangerous. Now, how it becomes more dangerous, I'm not sure, because the gun is still doing the same thing the gun does. The only difference is there's just a little bit of a muffler on the end of it. Still the same intended purpose, nothing changes. Gun doesn't shoot more bullets. The gun doesn't reload itself automatically. It's not an automatic, nothing different there happens. It's going to change the effect and outcome of things. Because, I mean, Lord forbid, you could put a suppressor on a 22. In fact, my daughter's little Bolt 22 single shot got a suppressor. But, suppressors aren't going to make it all, more dangerous or whatever. It's, so, you've got that. So as far as functionality goes, you're not altering the function of the firearm. It's still doing its intended purpose. The only thing that you're altering is the direction of the hot gases as they go through the barrel. And before they blow out and give you muzzle lift, recoil, and all of that stuff, it does muffle the noise that comes from the muzzle. In the end with your gases, it's not as much. But any type of ammunition that fires off that's regular, that's not subsonic, is always going to have that sonic crack, no matter what. It doesn't matter. It breaks the sound barrier at one point. It's always going to happen every time you shoot. Now, depending on everything else going forward, whether it be the round goes through the suppressor and the gases are behind propelling, those gases hit the baffles or they hit the vanes, whatever design baffle system you have. If it's monocore, which is the single core, if you guys watch the shorts, you'd know. That gas is going to slow down, hit those baffles, and you're going to actually see the projectile. And like in some of them, I did put it on there. It's kind of like this 3D looking thing of what it looks like on a clear suppressor. You see all the hot gases on that thermal camera going. You see the roundabout right here. They project it, and then as soon as they hit the muzzle and they go into the suppressor on the end of the muzzle, these slow down, and you see the projectile going on ahead, and then this going down slow behind it. And basically, that's all it is, what a suppressor does. You're slowing down those gases, hot gases, and everything like that, which in turn slows the sound down because it's muffling just like a car muffler. It's simple science, but it does not make the gun more dangerous. It's silly. I mean, so you can debunk that. You're still getting loud noises. You're still going to hear the operation of the gun, clink, metal racking it, your bolt going back into battery, charged to battery. There's no such thing as a silencer. Now, Maxim, when he invented it in 1902, he called it a silencer, but that was the end game result he was trying to get. He realized in 1909, as soon as he filed his patents for it, he wasn't able to accomplish that. You know, it's crazy as far as designs go. And if you guys ever take a look at Hiram Maxim's patents, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed on a lot of my shorts and my content, when there's a specific firearm that's iconic or whatever, like for instance, the Walther PPK, or you know, the Colt Single Action Army revolver, you know, any of those, I always like to look for the original patent design. Now, of course, the ones on the internet are going to be copies or digital, electronic, whatever mock-ups. But it's always fun to look at the original designs before anybody else went in and did the blueprint and all this junk look, because a lot of these firearms and stuff like that, they were invented before the, you know, before the 20th century, before the 1900s took place. And so you really think of the science and technology behind it. These guys were doing it back then. I mean, now we're starting to, I mean, it's 120 years, 20 plus years since suppressors have really been documented. And, you know, to think about it and take a look at it, ingenuity for suppressors, although with military applications or, you know, machinists and firearm manufacturers, suppressors really weren't as popular now as they are today, this very like recent decade. I mean, you know, they've really started to come out of the woodwork, and, you know, people love shooting them. And quite frankly, you know, they get such a bad rap. Another one of the debunking points that I'll be covering on here, and that is suppressors will affect poaching etiquette and hunting, because hunters will be able to shoot prey and people won't be able to hear where it's at. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hunt, I'm not around in a place where there's a lot of people. If I'm tracking deer or whatever, you know, I'm going to go out into the middle of nowhere or whatever. And as far as poaching goes, most people that poach, it's on their own land. I mean, if you're looking at like people out in Africa and stuff like that, unfortunately, you know, those are Africa problems. You know, as much as the animals on the Serengeti and stuff like that, they need to be preserved and whatnot. They're not in the United States. As far as like poaching deer, poaching elk, poaching whatever, like I said, most of the time it's in the usually people do it on their own land statistically, but you know, I don't think you're going to be driving out in the sticks. You're going to see a deer or some poacher or whatever, and he just shoots it right off the bat, and all of a sudden a Department of Natural Resources person just shows up out of nowhere because they heard gunshot. Come on. I mean, I can obviously tell that some of these arguments were made by people that have never actually shot these guns, gone hunting, you know, or actually did any like research or look into their arguments against suppressors. Another great argument that I got to debunk the hell out of because I think it's hilarious. They say people shouldn't buy suppressors because they are misleading. People might make the mistake and think that it's a silencer and that the gun's going to be quiet, but it puts out too much noise and could damage their hearing still. And right there is exactly the reason that that argument ruins every other argument they have as far as involving crime, poaching, etc. Because here's the thing. If it's loud enough to damage your ears, which is 140, it's going to be loud enough for cop down the block to hear. If you're out on the savannah hunting, people about 2 miles away is going to hear. I mean, right there, they contradict themselves. And so it's just like, man, you guys, I mean, do they think about these arguing points before they post this shit? And so, you know, that's my fun, you know, suck it, dudes. I mean, like, that's the whole thing. You ruined your own argument with your own points. Now, are there some firearms that are pretty close to damn near quiet or like silent? Some. Usually it's 22s with subsonic ammunition in them. But, I mean, here's the other thing. You've got subsonic ammo, you've got suppressors. Suppressors would be good for hunting if you were doing a follow-up shot and you missed your first one. I mean, especially if it's deer or antelope or whatever. But you know, it's as far as that goes, I mean, a lot of guys maybe big game, they like them. I don't know. Personally, when I'm out in the sticks hunting and stuff like that, you know, I have a high-powered rifle. I just pop in my I got these hearing aids that I can just pop in or whatnot, and they tune out all the really high-pitched damaging sound and pick up lower frequency, which is nice. But I mean, hunting with a suppressor, you know, throwing a can on the end of a rifle, like, I could see that being fun. It's just, I don't know. Never really thought about it, but, you know, it works. A lot of guys do it apparently. So, you know, but as far as the noise goes, though, if it's too quiet, the animals who can hear things hell of a lot better than us, animals and ethics and park rangers and people like that, it's too quiet, but it's also misleading because it's actually not quiet and it'll damage your hearing. That just is argument on its own. Well, see, it still dampens it. You can still hear, and it's still effective to an extent. You know, because the other misconception with suppressors, and there's so many dumb people that don't realize this, it's muzzle flash. And I'll pound that one into the ground as much as I possibly have to until people realize it. You're not 100% silent, however, the muzzle flash is gone, and your muzzle flash giving away where you're at. Now that is something I can understand, but that's more of a tactical advantage, especially if you're in the military or a SWAT team or something like that, and you're in position and you have to take multiple shots. You know, it's, you know, suppressors, I mean, that's one of the main reasons for it, especially because if a guy is up on a rooftop, you know, providing cover for an assault team who's stacked in front of a door and ready to kick it in and bust through that funnel, and this guy's outside making sure nobody messes with them while they're going in and clearing that joint, you know, you don't want that guy to be known where he's at. And so, of course, you've got muzzle flash, you know, these suppressors blocking the muzzle flash. It does slow the sound down somewhat decimal-wise, but for the most part, it helps, but it doesn't make it silent. And so, I mean, it's just, that's the science of it. It's gases and sound, you know, going through a muffler. But, I mean, it's being practical. Silencers, they're just fun to shoot. I mean, you know, if, like no recoil whatsoever, that's another myth. They do help out with recoil. There's a, but at the same time, it's not like it, I don't know, it, in a sense, you don't get as much muzzle lift, like if you were to have a compensator or a muzzle brake on the end, except it's quiet. You've got that nice extra weight. So when you're shooting or whatever, but, you know, that's another advantage of suppressors, but in all actuality, suppressors do not make guns any more dangerous than they already are. And the only reason guns are dangerous, it's because of the person that's handling it. It's never the gun's fault, because a gun, I could set a gun down right there on the floor, do this live stream, that gun's never gonna go off and shoot me. Well, maybe if it's a SIG, but, I don't know. I think I should be pretty safe. You know, just sitting there looking at it, nothing so far. It's the person that's holding it. That's where the gun issue is. That's where the Second Amendment, you know, they need to leave that alone and focus on people. And you can make it illegal all day, every day, and you're still gonna have criminals with guns. Gun-free zones, 88% of the shootings, mass shootings take place in gun-free zones. Look up that statistic. And, you know, they try to say, oh, no, you know, that's not true. Mass shooters are deterred by a gun-free zone. Hey, Sonny. Hey, yeah, thanks, man. I decided to go all nostalgic and a little old school for me. Feel young again, back to my 20s. But gun-free zones do not deter criminals, especially mass shooters, because mass shooters are going to go to whatever place they can to get as many people killed as possible because they are a mass shooter. Gun-free zones, there's nobody there to stop them. That gives them way more time before first responders can get there, which they know will show up eventually, depending on how psychotic these people are or whatnot. But the fact is, hey, let's go over there because nobody else is going to shoot back at me. We're in a gun-free zone. And that's how that goes down. And like criminals are going to disarm, you know, I mean, it's like the same thing with suppressors. if you're going to go murder somebody with suppressor, like this Luigi kid, for instance, okay, suppressors, although it may make it more quiet, not as loud, they are odd to carry for starters because you're adding inches to your barrel. Uh, you can hold that thing up unless you hurry and untwist that bad boy, reholster it however you have it, or throw it in your bag. But the fact is, when you're adding 5, 6, up to 8 inches to your firearm, you're making it more inconvenient to carry, more visible, everything along that line. I mean, you can get some little 22 pistols, and there's a lot of micro pistols you can thread and put one of those on, but at the same time, it's still going to be bulkier. And that's like, and it's going to be more visible unless you've got like a jacket, coat, whatever, something like that to hurry and conceal it afterwards. But at the same time, if you're wearing some weird shit and you're in the middle of summer, I call it a cheater holster. If you're wearing shoulder straps, or I call it a tactical bra, depending on the day. If you've got one of those, well, you're going to have something over it or whatever, and then you're going to look like some public masturbator weirdo running around New York with a suppressed handgun, when they catch you. But I mean, there's all these factors that people don't really consider to think about. Like this Luigi kid, smart kid, prints his guns, allegedly. We're going to go allegedly's on this. Now, I'm not saying I like what the kid did, because I don't. But, he did all that stuff. He was so clever. But at the same time, with his suppressor, his makeshift suppressor Gemtech that he made, he didn't do the booster spring. And as you guys saw in the video, if people don't have booster springs, your pistol is more than likely going to malfunction, and you're going to stovepipe or have a nose-up jam feed issue. Hence the reason why he had to sit there and fidget and waddle with it or whatever 3 times. I mean, you really look at it this way. That suppressor, that person standing by, they're probably in shock or whatnot or whatever while that kid ran up and started shooting. That dude had opportunity to go charge his ass. Due to it. Now, is everybody brave or has balls to do stuff like that? No. Do a lot of people probably go into shock because they just saw somebody get shot? Yeah, and I can see the panic from that. But, but another thing to think about, if that person had a firearm, what would the outcome have been? Because they could have just turned and boom, took him out. Maybe that dude would have made it to the hospital, that CEO guy. I don't know. There's too much speculation and bullcrap. But looking at the scenario and situation, there's so many outcomes that could have happened. However, gun control is not a solution. It never works. And that's that. And as far as suppressors go, it's the same thing. Suppressors don't make it more dangerous, guys. They don't make it harder or easier for criminals to commit crimes. They don't make it easier for mass shootings. It's just complete myths, and I'll be dropping the facts in the videos for you guys, because I don't, right here on this, I'm not going to sit there and read my notes and facts and stuff like that to you. That's going to be for the videos. Drop it in there and give you some visual aids and better info regarding that. But man, so I don't know if y'all order your tinfoil, your tactical tinfoil hats. I'm curious. Out on the East Coast, man, you guys have either got a bunch of ET, let's see, what's the other one I heard? Iranian drones. And I believe Sonny mentioned to me somebody was talking about chemtrails. It's getting nuts, man. I'm curious, guys. If you guys, any like funny or cool theories, conspiracy, whatever, guys, freaking comment that crap, man, and we'll look it up, and we'll do, take a look at some odd drone news. There's just some great theories out there, I'll tell you. But I've got my I'm still waiting for Sonny. You know what, Sonny, since you've been promoting my channel, man, I'll give you one of the original prototype tactical tinfoils. And I'll get you a drone downer too. That drone downer, man. Fuck, I've shot so many bottle rockets out of that thing. But all I did, I can't show you guys on YouTube right here on the live, man, or I would. But all it is basically it's a. I made this little like training rifle I just took an old polymer stock. I got some like metal conduit or whatnot, and made it look like the barrel and all that junk. And when I was teaching my kids how to hold firearms right and everything along that line, I was using it for that. And then, I don't know, any of you guys that have followed me for years or people that know me off of YouTube or whatnot, I always go ape shit and nuts with fireworks on holidays, whether it be Mother's Day, Independence Day, New Year's, or just whenever I feel like it because I'm immature. Um, I was like, it'd be cool, man, because it was that Chinese flying balloon thing that was flying over for a while. I was like, do some parodies or whatnot and use that thing as like a mini RPG to take down spy balloons and drones and whatever. But I don't know, I've had fun messing with that stuff. A lot of the tinfoil stuff's fun. Just crazy but fun. But I don't know, Sonny, you would ask me my take on it. With those drones, now, if it's the Iranian, supposedly they're launching them off the ocean somewhere or whatever, I would say that's, man, as much as that could be a possibility, I'd probably say no. The reason for that is because the United States, do you think we're ever going to let anything like that get anywhere near our waters for them to launch stuff off? And, with the Air Force, we've got the Navy, we've got the Air Force, we've got Space Force, but I still don't know what the hell they do. Our homeland is very well protected as far as my knowledge is up. If somebody was from a different country and they were flying weird ass drones all over our airspace and all that shit, I'm pretty sure, I don't know. We would have probably heard something about it by now. But one of the other crazy conspiracy theories, and this one could be a possibility, is that anytime there's like some weird event that happens in the United States with our government or with, I don't know, some scandals or some shit, have you guys ever noticed that some like weird pop culture scandal ends up showing up and then takes over the whole thing, and it's like they're hiding something over here, but they just keep promoting like this Jay-Z thing or whatever with Diddy? You've got, let's see here, Israel and Hamas going at it, Israel and Iran going at it. You've got Syria civil war, their coup and all this stuff going on right now, all these hot spots. And people are more concerned about, Diddy and Jay-Z. And that just blows my mind, man. I'll tell you. If they're going to clean house and get rid of all the pervs, in the United States that are up in the high elite areas, I'm all for it. Good. No, because, the one thing in life, chomos, dude. Worst people you can possibly be. And if that's the case, let's focus on that. But if we've got people flying over our water and over our land and getting that far inland, that's bullshit, man. And that's kind of like, Sonny, maybe where that dude came up with the chemtrails, because it's like, well, we would have probably shot it down if it wasn't ours. But, then again, I think the only reason Biden shot down those balloons is people had enough at one point. But who knows, dude? Government, someday they'll be honest with us, I'm sure. So we got to just keep believing in them, guys. Fuck. So, those are my rants this evening. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth mentioning, man. Other than, I'll continue to fuck with people that don't like suppressors and fuck with people that don't like guns. Have a good time. It's... sometimes I get such a kick out of it too. I don't, it's one of my favorites, and you guys have heard me say this before, when people throw insults in comment sections and stuff like that at me, I love it, like reading through their like whole paragraph comment, of how I'm this shitty person and like guns and we're nuts and we're the reason America's deteriorating and things like that. And you look at it and it says edited, and then as you're like reading it, all of a sudden, you stop, and then you go back and they've edited it again after you've already read it the first time, and I'm sure they're just like, I sure told that guy on YouTube. It took me 45 minutes to comment and tell him how I think he's just a dumb redneck asshole. Sure showed him, guys. Do you want to go to Starbucks now and we'll play Dungeons and Dragons? I'm sure that's exactly how that person was, dude, right after these comments, but they are funny as hell. There was another one. somebody had made a comment. What was it? Oh yeah, the United States government wants the United States government only wants sociopaths and psychos to be in the military so they can kill people and then go drink a cup of coffee later. I'm like, that is, that is the point of the military, is to defend your country, and sometimes by force. Yeah, okay. As far as complete psychopaths and shit like that, no, they don't make it. They don't make it because you have to mesh. You're in a unit, so it's Marine Corps is a very especially the Marines. It's a lot of in-doc you go to, a lot of culture you go to, a lot of traditions. But as far as being psychopaths and shit like that, no, you're on a team, man. You're in a new family. Your Uncle Sam's Misguided Children, USMC. But those are other fun arguments to make. I enjoy those. But Whaley's drones today from the precipitation heavy rain. You really think though? I mean, like, is it the precipitate? Hold on, Sonny. Let me think here. So because it was raining or snowing, they just didn't have them flying around. I'm curious. Because the other thing I'm curious about is all the news and everything like that. The only things I've seen on it about them, it was like you'd see some floaty lights or whatever, and that's the thing the news keeps playing over and over and over. Has anybody spotted these during the daytime or anything like that? I'm curious. I mean, give me a better idea as to what the hell it is. But being a drone plane, like those Predator planes that we had, I mean, that'd be kind of scary if it's somebody else. But out of curiosity and something maybe I should look up, about National Guard bases or Air National Guard bases and stuff like that in that region. Said the same thing about Iran. Country. It's also briefed about drone distances that a few people believe they have to be from close. Drones can fly. I mean, I can't really comment on that one, man. But I do know drones can go pretty far. But I don't think flying across the ocean like that. I don't believe, but it's a very good possibility. I'm sure they can control them from across the ocean and stuff like that. But as far as launching them off a carrier. I mean, we have the best Navy in the world. We have the best Air Force in the world. We have the best Air Force that's part of the Navy. I have such a hard time thinking that they would ever get that close to us without us knowing right ahead. I mean, it would be very stupid of Iran to do something to us. And that's one thing for sure, man. I know they're itching, and it's not really the Iranian people, it's the Ayatollah and all those people, the extremists, but people are actually pretty good people for the most part. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, exactly what he said. He was in the army. Yep. I mean, yeah, dude, our response time. I mean, you've got the Marine Muse, and you've got like the Army Airborne, and there's all the special operations people or whatever. But I mean, between your airborne and your Marines that are in the Muse, expeditionary units, man. I mean, amphibious and by air, they can mobilize. They can get into countries very quickly, and and that's the whole purpose. It's all about the speed. But I'm pretty sure if we've got somebody hauling around a tugboat in the middle of the ocean, like Captain Phillips or something. Well, we saw how that went out. So, I mean, it's just like the U.S., we had a carrier over in that area. We'd find out where it was coming from, and we'd probably go hit it, unless it would cause open warfare. I mean, they'd have to do something first, because unfortunately in the U.S., we tend to always wait till somebody does shit to us before we do anything back. But I don't know. It's I can't answer accurately, by the way. About the rain, I don't know. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like with those planes, I mean, those drones with the rain. I don't know. I'll have to keep looking into it. I mean, it's funny because like 8 years ago, anytime I told people, it's like, dude, I totally believe there's like UFOs or something like that, or weird shit going on. People would laugh their ass off at me and think that's crazy. And, they're not wrong. I am, pretty crazy, but like, I mean, like, aliens, come on, man, all that stuff. And then it's like funny because they had those hearings where they actually finally said something about it. And I was like, that's one of those things where you wish you could remember somebody's phone number when your cell phone died just so you can call and rub it in. But, it's kind of like my wife, I believe I mentioned, on a different live stream or whatnot. She said, well, maybe that's what Space Force is about. Something to do with because quite frankly, do any of us even know what the hell goes on in Space Force? Me and Stone Sailor, you guys don't know who he is, Rob Farlow. We were talking about this once and we couldn't figure out because like Air Force already has like, elite pilots, dudes that are freaking smart as hell and, physics, research, all sorts of stuff, man, protecting this. I mean, the Air Force, even though we like to make fun of them and give them shit for being pogues, the majority of them, it's they do quite a bit. And then Space Force, and like the other thing I would have thought, like NASA, why wouldn't we just join that up with Space Force? Or is NASA supposed to be some more of a non-military type thing? It's just government research, which I don't know. It's a good question. It's insane. I mean, we got Elon Musk now, dude, shooting up those X rockets or whatever. I mean, it's privatized with him, which is insane. I mean, I wish I had that kind of obscene money, dude. Holy hell. Fucking launch rockets into space. I mean, that's, boy, be cool as hell. But, anyways, guys, that's my rant. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll drop more of the suppressor facts, documentation, where I received the material from. So whoever wants to fact check me, I'll make that easy for you. But you guys enjoy your Monday. Take care.